Aleichem. Gute Woche, Chevra. We're going to spend a lot of time here at Hashem this week speaking about Shmiras Einayim, guarding the eyes. Guarding the eyes, b'siyat d'shmaya. The eyes are not to be used to look at anything you want. There's, it says, Adam la'amul yulad. A man was created, the prophet says, to toil. We're born to toil. We're not born to take handouts and stimulus checks. We're born to schwitz and toil. That's what the whole world is all about. And we all know that. We all know that working hard is what it's all about. That's the whole name of the game. That's how you earn, and that's how you feel accomplished, and that's how you become godly. So the Chidah Kodesh says, Omal. Omal means to toil, but Omal is also a Rosh Tevis of ayin is einayim, to toil by guarding your eyes. Mem is ma'or. Ma'or means that flesh, that part, and the lamed is lashon, is guarding the speech, not to say evil speech. So what are the three areas that we really work on in this world? Is guarding our eyes, guarding the bris, and guarding what we speak. Because, by the way, it's all the same thing. It's all one thing. The way that a person speaks, you could tell what he looks at, and you could tell what he's doing with. In 1 second, everything is revealed. Just listen to the way a person speaks, and it's like you can't hide anything. When a person speaks, it's all revealed. It's all right there. So you can really tell. You don't have to be a prophet to see where the person's holding. Just listen to what they speak about. And people who have holy speech, you can tell that they're guarding their eyes. And from that, you know that they're also guarding that other place. You know, it says that the Yetzer Hara is very interesting. The Yetzer Hara, Chazal gives somewhat of a description of it, that the Yetzer Hara is this entity that's all eyeballs. Spooky, right? It's like some scary old movie. It's only eyeballs, the whole thing. Wherever you look, it's just eyeballs. Obviously nothing physical, just eyes everywhere. Yeah.
Isn't it also like rings within rings?
Yeah.
Oh, it's that.
It's learn Gemara, guys. Gemara is some really cool stuff. Excuse me for saying. Gemara is where it's at. So the tzaddikim say that what's the inyan? What's the idea that the Yetzer Hara should be just all eyes, and the Malach HaMav is just eyes and eyes and eyes and eyes? Is that there's something about protecting your eyes. If you want to be careful of those eyes, you have to protect your eyes. He reminds you, how are you using your eyes? What were you looking at? What were you looking at? This is not just public, property. Anybody can come and look at, and your eyes have to look. Your eyes are very special. Tzaddikim say it's an interesting thing. The eyes, if any part of your body is touched, you're basically okay. There's one part of the body, if the slightest touch comes onto it, you become very uncomfortable. That's your eyes. The eye is such an interesting membrane, right? That any bit of a touch on the eyes is like, and to such a degree that if a little bit of dust gets on the eyes, the Ber Maim Chaim speaks about this. Any bit of it's very sensitive. Like eyes are it shows how sensitive what the eyes are all about. Yes, David.
Ooh, neurologically, your eyes are actually like the same thing as your brain. They're one the same.
From the optic nerve.
Yeah, like they're just in two different parts.
It's an extension of your brain.
Exactly.
I have data from one of our scientists in the room that your eyeballs are what your brain looks like coming out of your face. Okay, we should all have healthy brains and healthy eyes, and they should all stay where they need to be. B'ezrat Hashem. But there's like a revelation. Chazal say also the eyes are an extension of your heart. Liba be'e Natalia. that your eye is just an appendage of your heart. Your eye, from going down from the optic nerve, goes all the way down to the heart. That's why lo yisasuru acharei levavchem ve'acharei nechem asher atem zoinim acharei. Because whatever your heart, your eye is going to see it. And your eye sees it, your heart wants it. It's all one thing. Say, I just saw it. Why do I want it? Come on. Your eye and your heart. Interesting, in Hilchos Shabbos, this becomes a very nogeh halacha. You know that? What's the halacha? You know, in Hilchos Shabbos, you're not allowed to do refuah for external organs, generally. If something is an external organ, you're not allowed to do a healing on it on Shabbos, generally speaking. Except internal organs, if there's a problem, then you could break Shabbos, etc. However, what about if somebody has an eye problem? Lo aleinu. So you would say the eye, that's an external organ, like skin. No. Chazal say if the person has an eye problem, you could break Shabbos. A bad eye problem. Why? It's like your whole body, God forbid, is in jeopardy. It's like there's a heart problem. Your eye and your heart are one thing. That's why also in Hilchos Bris Milah, if a baby has an eye problem, we push off the bris. We're very careful with eye problems. What do you mean? It's just an eye infection that got a little bit bad. Why did you push off? Because that means there's something with the heart. Eyes and hearts are very deeply connected. And they're so sensitive. Such a thing that a little dirt gets in. Why? Because the Zohar says that this eyeball is just a vessel for something called sight. You know, your eye is just a piece of fleischiks. But the eye is the perfect vessel to allow the spiritual quality of sight. Sight is a spiritual idea, that I could see things. And that is the spiritual clothing of a very, very high thing called vision, called seeing things. The eyeball is just the organ that it rests in, that it comes down into. So your eyes are like the highest part. Your eyes are very, very high on your body. Eyes represent something very, very deep. It corresponds to the world of Atzilus, the Koitzo Shel Yud, of Hashem's name. That's why everything is always about making the eyes, making problems for the eyes. The Vilna Gaon says an amazing thing. We're going to talk about eyes this whole week. The Vilna Gaon says a beautiful thing. He says, you know, if I want to get up to heaven, I want to get a glimpse of heaven. So, my senses are lacking when it comes to relating to what's going on in heaven. If somebody had a beautiful flower that he wanted me to smell, but it was in heaven, could I smell it? No. What if somebody wants to shake my hand from heaven? Would I be able to touch them? No. What if somebody is singing a beautiful melody and playing the harp up in heaven? Would I be able to hear it? No. Somebody's offering me a delicacy. Would I be able to taste it up in heaven? No. But my eyes can see all the way up to heaven. My eyes can look all the way up. My eyes can see all the way into heaven. Your eye, the gra, your eyes just see. They're a part of vision that goes so high, so deep, so far. The Sfarim also talk, Chasim Sefer. You know, what do you do when you want to really understand something deeply? Let's say you're learning something, you want to really get it. So what do? Are you like this, like, or do you like this? You close your eyes. You close your eyes. Because you're saying, if I really want to understand this, I need to shut out the distractions of this world. I need to start seeing with a higher vision, a higher spiritual thing. Also, Rabbi Nachman talks that when a person, God forbid, something happens to someone, they stub their toe. So when they stub their toe, they go like this, like, ah! That's just weird. They go, ah! They close their eyes. And you can't even help it, you just close your eyes. Don't hear this, someone just stubbed it. When you can't, your body naturally says, What just happened is so painful that this world is not going to offer me the solutions. I need to close my eyes and go to a higher plane of consciousness. And I'll tell you something else, my friends. What's another area that we close our eyes? When we kiss somebody. Because what you're really saying is that I'm not just giving you a kiss, is that I want to relate to you in a way that's deeper than this world has to offer. So you close your eyes. The eyes are very, very deep. That's why during these times of Shovim, it's all about guarding the eyes. Well, I'm going to talk a lot about eyes this week, about guarding the eyes. Just because something is available doesn't mean I have to take it into my consciousness and I don't have to watch it. Your eyes are very, very precious. Your eyes are very, very precious. Mamish. Mamish. And you should know, Rav Kellerman one time told me a very interesting thing. He said that he had to go on a certain trip with his son, and they were going to Eilat. It was because they had to do a mitzvah there. There was something very important they had to do. So he went to ask his Rav of Kamenetsky, and of Yosef Kamenetsky, I believe. And he said, I'm going to a place, I'm quite concerned. It's the middle of summer. They don't exactly, have the most stringent opinions of dress, especially down there at that time. So I'm concerned. I don't want to have any problems So the Rav said, he said, just make sure that you and your son, you learn a piece of Torah so deeply that it gets into your kishkas, that you're really living with it, and prepare that for a couple weeks. And then when you go down to Eilat, if you have to go places and you have to try to guard yourself, so just make sure to speak in learning. So he said, Rav, we love learning Torah, but we're going to be going places where we're going to have to be looking at things, and we just want to make sure that we're, by the way, we're not into living in holes and boxes. You have to go and live in the world. You have to be smart how you do it. So as a practical thing, he said exactly what we said today. The Gemara says that your eyes and your heart are connected. Which means if you can learn something so deeply that you're totally in it, you will see that. It doesn't mean that you should rely on this. Oh, I'm just going to go to some very questionable place because I won't even see anything. You know what the Morva Shemesh says about that? The Morva Shemesh says an amazing thing. He says, there are some tzaddikim that could walk and not see anything that's not nice. Any images that are not appropriate. He says, the person can only get to that level if for an entire year he doesn't have one inkling for anything superfluous and gashmi in this world that he doesn't need. Not even one time that he needed to eat an extra Twizzler. Not only one time that he hit the snooze. Not only one time that he had any pull to anything of this world, even mutter things, that he didn't need. He was 100% in control of himself every single second. And even after 364 days, he had one pull, the whole year starts again. If a person go an entire year with not even one pull or one inclination to anything gashmi in this world, then he could walk anywhere and he's mamish like in another universe. But even one time, so Tzimar said, so people like us, and he included himself in that, even though he's for sure up there, that for us, that we have something called making sayogin and gedarim, and we make fences. Because the world out there is always offering us to look at all sorts of things. Even though I keep telling you guys that if I were to control Times Square, I don't know why they wouldn't use those giant 200-foot, HD screens to, put psukim up there and have inspirational messages about Ein Oid Malvadai. That'd be a great place to put Ein Oid Malvadai. But for whatever reason, they just choose the opposite in Pritzis and Isuri Deraisa instead. I'm hoping that's going to change very soon. But until that happens, so a person, Chacham Einav B'Roshai, Chacham Einav B'Roshai. The wise man has his eyes in his head. So the Gemara says, like, where else would they be? And like in his elbows? The Gemara says, the wise man has his eyes in his head. It means that he chooses where his eyes go. You know, there were certain tzaddikim that they would never turn their head. If they wanted to direct their eyes somewhere, they would turn their entire body. Because if I'm going to look at something, they had to make a conscious decision to look at it. And if they're making a conscious decision to look at it, then I'm going to take my entire kayma shlema, my entire being, I'm going to turn to now focus on that thing. Whereas nowadays, we have the opposite. It's called callous rush. Callous rush means simply when things are very lightheaded. But literally the words mean callous rush. What's the literal translation? Kal means light. Like the head is just light. So I don't know if you guys ever saw these things, but in people's cars, sometimes it's some dog or something, or sometimes it's like Patty Mahomes, and it's like a bobble situation, like a bobbly head. So the head just literally like bobbles around, right? It's like doing like that very funny thing. So that's what we do with our hands. We just like, oh, who opened the door? Oh, what's going on over there? Oh, what happened here? Oh, what's going on there? Our head is not heavy, and our eyes just go to anything. We're learning during these days, you can master what you look at. You can master what you look at. You're not at the whims. Oh, your eyes just get pulled after anything. Once you could be the master of this, you could master anything. Once you could master what you look at, you could master anything. Anything and everything. You could master all areas of your life, including being a happy person, because you know you're in charge. You know you're in charge. So we're going to talk about different strategies because you want to be the master of your destiny. And not let whatever they're putting on Times Square to control your thoughts and then tell you that, oh, you don't have that thing, so you should be really depressed about it. Because that's what's going on. So this whole time now is working on the eyes. Working on the kedusha of the einayim. You know, ayin is the letter ayin. What's the gematria of ayin? 70. 70 is the gematria soid, of secrets. If you want to really know the secrets of Hashem, soid Hashem, you need to know about the ayin, about guarding the eye, looking at holy things. Looking at holy things. That's why it says that the oisius are machkimos. Chazal say when you look at Hebrew letters, it makes you wise. Just looking at the letters. You can tell when you see somebody whose eyes are being used for good things. Just go to Ichimar, look in his eyes. You look in his eyes, you see these eyes are holy eyes. Look in Tzimar's eyes. You see these are holy eyes. Like they look all day into holy things. All the time, using the eyes to see holy things. The eyes are very, very powerful. An eye, in Hebrew, is an ayin. Ayin is like a spring. Bas ayin. The einayim is mayan, is like a spring. This ayin, this spring that's bursting forth. The eye doesn't just take in, the eye also gives off. That's why you can smile at somebody, you could smile to somebody through your eyes. The eye is not just receiving, the eye is very, when you see a person with nice eyes, it's like they invite you into their world through their eyes. Their eyes are welcoming, their eyes are, and it's a sad thing that nobody makes eye contact anymore. That's a very, you talk to people, it's almost startling that sometimes you try to have a conversation, and not only do they not want to make contact, they don't even want to stand in front of you. They start going like this. And so I start walking like, so. Yeah. And I'm like, no, stop. You know, let's just look at each other in the eyes. No. So to make eye contact, it's too much. And I think they know is because their eyes they've been looking at things, and they don't want people to look in their eyes. Because the eyes are so real. The eyes are so, so real. Someone came to the Regina, and he had a petek, a kvittel, a little piece of paper. And this person had bad eyes. His eyes he had some pain that was neura in his eyes. So he came to the Regina, he said, Rebbe, my eyes, they're hurting very, very much. Will you please daven for me? And he gave him so the Regina read it. Tzaddikim, when you write them the kvittels, they could see into you. Such a big thing. The Rebbes were always the original handwriting analysis experts. That's why they say, write something down. No, write something down. There's something about writing something down. So it's a big thing. That's why I was so excited when I saw your handwriting. It's so beautiful. Write something down. It's a very, very big thing. So the Regina read the petek, and it said on it, that my eyes are hurting. So the Regina said, you know what it says on here? It doesn't say that my eyes are hurting. It says, I'm hurting my eyes. And the guy was like, oh my goodness. These are big things. These are big things. This is meant to be more uplifting. Don't worry. These are big things. These are big things. The main takeaway today is the kedusha of the eyes, because the opposite, mida tov meruba, is when you start using your eyes for good things, you will see wondrous secrets. You will see wondrous things. There was one time a bacher came to the Chazon Ish. Somebody told the Chazon Ish, there's a bacher who guards his eyes. His kedusha seinayim is. So the Chazon Ish came and he saw him and he said, I could see the kedusha on him. I see it. It's so obvious. I could see. When a person starts using his eyes, and this is everyone according to their level. Everyone according to their level, but this is the time of year we start thinking, I want to use my eyes to see holy things. I got one set of eyes for 120 years. When I give these eyes back to Hashem, I want to be able to say, Hashem, I use these to see holy, holy things. In the Talmud Bavli, how do we bring proofs for things? We say, Toshma, come in here. I want to share with you a proof. But how do we say it in the Zohar, which is all the secrets of Torah? We say, Tachazeh, come and see. The highest level, the Zohar says, you want me to tell you? I'm going to show it to you. When a person uses their eyes properly, Hashem says, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you wondrous things. I'm going to show you gewaldige things. B'siyat d'shmaya. This is just the beginning. We're going to talk a lot all week and the rest of our lives about our eyes, about the kedusha ve'inayim. And then we'll go Mirz Hashem tomorrow into Perek Gimel we're going to do. We should be Zaycha Mamish. Because when our eyes become pure again, we could truly be Zaycha to V'sechezena Eineinu B'shuvach L'tzion Hashem B'rachamim and B'shir Tzidkenu B'mhera V'yimena. Amen. Amen. Have a wonderful day. Shavua Tov.